So, uh, let's see. Chapter 5, page 113 through 139. It was the longest chapter in this reading. Okay. Richard follows the mysterious woman towards the floating market. It is extremely busy, but they finally make it to the right building. Harrods, a luxury department store that he had accompanied Jessica to many times. The mysterious woman leaves him, and Richard takes it all in. Hold on a second, I forgot to turn the full club soon off, and then the webcam. Okay. Lovely fresh dreams, first class nightmares. We got 'em. Get your lovely nightmares here, says one merchant. Rubbish, junk, garbage, trash. Come and get it. Nothing whole or undamaged, says another. Broken or lost things seem to have great value. There's also a maniacal dentist, perhaps a slave market, and various food stalls. Richard trades a ballpoint pen for some food and then runs into Old Bailey, who tries to sell him a bird. Richard says he is looking for Dor and de Carabas, and Old Bailey realizes they've met and offers to sell him the information for Richard's used handkerchief. Old Bailey points him to the food court where bodyguard auditions are taking place. Shortly after he arrives, Varney is knocked onto Richard during Varney's fight with the dwarf. Dor is not pleased to see Richard. Varney ends up beating the dwarf, and they declare him the new bodyguard. That is, until the mysterious woman appears and insists on trying out. She beats Varney easily and fantastically. And her name is revealed to be Hunter, the Hunter. A bell starts tolling, and it's time to leave. Richard follows Dor, de Carabas, and Hunter. When de Carabas asks where Hunter has been, she simply says hunting. They step through a door and are on the streets of London. They lift a sewer grate and climb down. And Dor tells Richard he won't be traveling with them. They leave, and he sits and cries. After 20 or 30 minutes, Dor returns. For him and out of guilt... pardon me. Dor returns for him out of guilt, and he joins their party. They tell Richard they're looking for an angel. We flash to Islington in a place called the Great Hall. As she goes to drink, candles light in her presence. She's a vision of white and an ancient entity, tens of thousands of years old. All right. Let's see. Andy has brought forth a discussion topic. Go, Andy. Go. I choose you.
Thank you. Sorry, that was really good. So, do you think that Dor's guilt and decision to go back for Richard redeems her initial carelessness in letting him into her world? You know, like in the beginning, she kind of just said I'm sorry and then she pieced out. But this time, she really sits back and is like, oh wait a second, I can't do this. Like I have to go get him. And so, do you think that that's redeeming her for her initial carelessness, or how do you guys what do you guys think about that?
Think it's the least she could do.
Yeah. Jesus.
Certainly
She
doesn't
ruined his
hurt.
life.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
he helped her, and then now he has nothing. Like everyone forgot him. So yeah, I think it's a little bit of guilt.
Abandoned him
Yeah,
twice? Like what?
Yeah, I was initially frustrated when she was surprised that he was there. Like, what did you think he was going to do?
Yeah.
Honestly, probably die.
I mean, that's fair.
That seems to be the theme everybody else had. It was like, Welcome to London Below, buddy. You're dead now.
Mm-hmm.
Where everybody dies.
The class
Well,
system seems pretty extreme
everybody
for
knew.
them, for the London
Yeah,
Below
everybody
people.
knew.
Hmm.
Yep.
I have a question. So, what do you guys think about lost and damaged things being so valuable, and what do you think that could mean?
I think it's an attachment to the old life, to the old places that everybody came from. Seems like it's like all walks of life have ended up there, and I think from different time periods too. I feel like people who end up there stay there from wherever they ended up there from. I think it's just like, oh, this is from the world above. It's got quality. It's valuable. You know,
I think it also fits with the theme of like I think they mentioned earlier that like the underground is where people go when they fall through the cracks.
Mm-hmm.
So in a way,
Mhm.
they're kind of lost. So it makes sense that they would treasure lost things.
Hmm.
Yeah.
true. Yeah.
I wonder if whatever magic is going on in this story, if people from London Below cannot like properly own things that are being owned by someone else, like in London above, because that's just the way they talk about how valuable, and they advertise it as like garbage, trash, like debris, come and get it. And they say nothing whole or undamaged. So it's like it makes me wonder if something about the magic here, like they can't uh they can't own things that are not lost or something. I don't know. I thought it was peculiar.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like when they go into Harrods and he's like, why don't Richard thinks to himself, he's like, why don't they just take all the stuff that's around them? Like, why are they like hawking all this stuff that's, lost or damaged or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
I think you're right. There definitely has to be something with that.
Any other final thoughts or comments on chapter 5?
Isn't this where we learned that anesthesia uh, was taken from the dark, and that just means that she was like likely passed away or whatever?
I think so. I
I think
think
they briefly
yeah.
they mentioned it. Yeah.
Hunter and Richard might have talked about it, and yeah.
So we
they
now
said that
know
she could come back though.
Yeah,
she
they
could.
said
Yeah.
that she
Yeah,
could come
when they
back.
talked to that, is it Mrs. Whiskers later?
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So at least
Okay.
we know what the darkness does now. I mean, you may or may
Mm,
not have a chance of coming out, but it looks like there's not. It's most likely you won't be coming out of it.
Yeah.
yeah,
If
it
anything, I
takes
have
a
more
toll.
questions. As not it doesn't instantly kill you. So what's going on? What's going on in the darkness if you could sometimes escape?
Maybe it's a shadowy figure with green eyes. I know.
Oh shit. I know that guy.
About that speaker's soul or something, you know what I mean?
Bang. Okay. Let's move on to chapter 6, pages 141 through 154. Richard, Dorr, Hunter, and De Carabas are making their way to Bank Station, which seems to be their next step to finding the angel they're looking for. Once at Bank Station, they approach a saxophonist and trade an enchanted musical tune for a timetable of the train that enters the Earl's Court. They head to the right area, and Richard is almost taken by a tentacle monster that lives in the gap between the platform and the train. Hunter saves him, but the area on his jeans touched by the monster, it was drained of color. Meanwhile, Mr. Krupp and Mr. Vandemar receive another call from their boss. They inform him the bodyguard plan didn't work, Mr. Krupp is talking calmly, but breaking things. Their boss suggests they're unprofessional, to which Mr. Krupp responds, "Sir, might I, with due respect, remind you that Mr. Vandemar and myself burned down the city of Troy? We brought the Black Plague to the Flanders. We have assassinated a dozen kings, 5 popes, half 100 heroes, and 2 accredited gods. Our last commission before this was the torturing to death of an entire monastery in 16th century Tuscany. We are utterly professional." Their boss tells them he wants them to scare Dor, but it's unclear what that means. The train arrives, and it appears empty from the outside. The doors open slightly by a bespectacled old man who lets them into the not-so-empty-after-all train, upon hearing it was Lady Dor. Okay, so Marvelous cannot be here tonight, but she sent me her question. She asks, Mr. Krupp mentions doing jobs in Troy and in Tuscany. This is the first time any of the underworlders have mentioned life outside of London. Do you think other cities have their own underground, or is London just special?
They probably have their own undergrounds.
I would
Sure.
assume
Even
so.
I would
later,
think they're undergrounds.
Actually, I'm wrong. I lied.
Mm.
Never mind.
Maybe that's connected in a way different than above ground, because I feel like when they were talking about the design of Dor's house before, that there were like rooms from, maybe rooms from all over the world or all over the place or something. So maybe like the magic in the underground connects things in a different way than how they are connected above.
Yeah. I feel like Florida's underground would just be a lot of people swimming.
Yes.
A lot of limestone and water.
And instead of rats, instead of like the Rat King, you got that
Swamp
what's it?
rats.
Swamp,
Muskrats.
the swamp puppy.
Yep.
We got iguanas.
Iguanas, swamp puppies, all of that.
Does anyone have any other thoughts, comments, questions on chapter 6?
No.
All right. So chapter 7 is pages 155 through 171. Richard, Dor, De Carabas, and Hunter enter the train car that seems to act as a foyer for the Earl's court. The Earl knows who Dor is after her introduction and expresses condolences for the loss of her family. The Earl realizes he had previously banished De Carabas, as a deal they'd had resulted in the Earl losing one of his eyes. The Earl refuses to do business in the presence of De Carabas, and so he is kicked off the train. De Carabas shows up just in time to stop Lear, the saxophonist from before, from being trampled, from playing the enchanted melody too much. He saves him in exchange for a Tang Dynasty sculpture. Back to the Earl's court, Dor had chatted privately with the Earl, and he agreed to help her find Islington. They pass through a door behind the Earl's throne and enter a huge museum/library. The Earl gives Dor a scroll, and they find out their next stop is the British Museum station. Jesse has brought a discussion question for chapter 7.
With what we've learned about the Marquis in this chapter, and kind of seen a little bit more of like a backstory, but like the way he goes about doing his business, do we think that he is someone that Dor should still be putting so much faith in?
Hell no.
I don't
No.
really trust him, to be honest.
He's an
He
agent
only-
of
it just
chaos.
seems, he only seems like he cares about himself and how things benefit for him, not for the others around him.
Yep. It's definitely
like-
super self-centered.
He's like Littlefinger in Game of Thrones.
Oh,
my
that's a
gosh,
great
yes.
comparison.
Yeah,
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, he's
yeah,
very
he's definitely
snaky.
the most important person in his mind.
Hmm.
Yeah, he always makes it a deal that like if he helps you, he has to get something in return. Like that's just how he does it. It's not like, I'll help you if you help me another time or whatever. He just every time someone asks for help, he's like, "Well, what do you have to give me?" So it's not necessarily about helping out of the heart of his good, like the good of his heart. It's just he just wants things.
Mm-hmm.
And
I
it
think
kind of like what we saw from this chapter was it kind of seems like his deals aren't always working out in the way that the people think they do. He reminds me kind of like a genie who kind of does things to the letter and not exactly to the intent.
Yeah. He'd be monkey pawn people. Like,
oh
hey,
yeah.
here's this magical song you can play so that people will donate to you more. Don't play it too much though, tehe. It's like, yeah, okay, you play it too much and they're literally clawing and trampling at you trying to give you money. It's pretty funny. It also makes it feel like he's playing like 4D chess compared to some of the other people in this story. Like Richard's barely playing checkers here, I'd say.
Yep.
Ooh, are there any illustrations? Because us
Oh,
poor
there,
people that we didn't get
yes,
the illustrated
yes,
version.
yes. I will show through chapter 7, and then we'll do chapter 8 and 9, and then I'll show chapter 8 and 9 pictures at the end. Okay. Let's see.
I'm sorry that I brought this up
No,
just
no.
now. I just
Oh,
remembered.
this is good. So this is a picture of it described like there was a guy who looked like he was a slave trader or something, and with like the 2 kids that he was lugging around the floating market. So this is the guy with those 2 kids, this picture. And on the corner of this page is Old Bailey again, the bird man. He's just poking out. And this is Varney.
Not how I pictured him, but
Here's another one of the hunter, just in the corner there. Oh wait, is she? Yeah, she knocked down Varney down there. He's like, ooh. And then here is
bless you, Merlin.
It's cough, but
Islington.
thank you.
Oh,
Islington, the angel.
Without wings.
Yes. He just glows with ancient magical energy. Here is De Carabas and Richard. Let's see. There we go. And then here's the little bespectacled old man when they are led into the train, the Earl's Court.
Like Twitch knows I'm in pain. I got Excedrin commercials,
Oh god.
Theraflu. Dang, they're really hitting me hard, man.
Here's the Earl with his eye patch and whatnot.
a lot different than what I expected.
Ooh, here's a good one of Hunter. this brings us to the end of this chapter when they're outside of the British Museum station, rather. All right. So we move on to chapter 8. Old Bailey, who is apparently several hundred years old and exclusively lives on roofs, is approached by De Carabas. He wants to trade for knowledge on the black obsidian statue he had taken from Lord Portico's study. Old Bailey said it was the great beast of London, a once small pig meant to be fattened up for dinner that instead escaped into the sewer and only got bigger, nastier, and more vicious with time. Old Bailey asks De Carabas if he is ready to take the mysterious silver box back, and he said no, and that hopefully Old Bailey won't have to use it, but if he does, the rats would tell him what to do. Richard, Dorr, and Hunter arrived to the British Museum station that wasn't supposed to exist. As Richard and Dorr go to take the stairs to London above, Hunter tells them she cannot leave London below. When they go up, Mr. Croup and Mr. Vandemar are there, and they taunt them. Mr. Croup says, "You've been sold out, little ladybird. There's a traitor in your nest, a cuckoo." Dorr gets to a door, and they leave, unharmed for now. When Mr. Croup and Mr. Vandemar are talking privately later, they mention their boss is, quote-unquote, the governor. Richard and Dorr make it to the museum, and they're optimistic, thinking, how many angels could be in here? Let's see, chapter 8. Who is it? Was that you, Marlon? Chapter 8?
Me.
All
It was
right,
me.
let her rip.
Coming.
Oh, here he comes. He coming.
All right, I had a couple, like a two-parter, like it was, do you think that the great beast of London from the little obsidian stone is still alive? What do you think the ornate silver box is that De Carabas gave to Old Bailey, and how do you think these two things will impact the story in the future? Like what role do you think they're going to end up playing?
Okay, hold on. So the first one was if the beast from London Below is still alive. Is that what you
Yep.
asked?
In Richard's dreams?
It seems to be alive because when they talked about if it had died or been killed, they said it was too nasty and vicious to die. So maybe it's still alive based off that.
Mm-hmm. I thought somebody had said like surely it died 300 years ago or something
Mm-hmm. But then there,
at one point in the story,
but
but it was presumptive of
yeah. Well,
some kind,
I think the response to that was like you'd think so, but it was too vicious or nasty or something like that to
Mhm.
Yeah.
die.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what Old Bailey said to Dick Carabas.
I think it's still alive. I think it is, personally.
Yeah. And Richard sees
Yeah.
it in his dreams, which is
Yeah, so
interesting.
yeah, I mean, if he died like 300 years ago as what they portrayed it, to be, then how come Richard and his friend are seeing this beast in their dream? It's like the same, like it's represented in both of their dreams, not just one. So
Yeah, I definitely think it's still out there, and probably the return of the hunter being some type of symbology to maybe some type of prophecy
Mm-hmm.
or something that's going to happen.
Okay.
And I think that box, something is diabolical about that box
Yeah.
because he didn't want to have it. Old Bailey did not want it. So it must mean something. It must have something specific
It's
in it.
something to be used as well, which is very like what could that mean? Is there some kind of spell or some kind of something to like what insurance? You know, he said once upon a time said it was insurance. Was like for what? What does that? What does that mean?
Hmm. Good question. Unless it's like some type of like cursed object that forces you into a deal, something like that.
Yeah, maybe.
I was wondering what if it what if the silver box somehow housed whatever the great beast is, and
Ooh.
using the box will somehow release it, and you know maybe do somebody's bidding or not, or I haven't really brainstormed that far, but it's like what if the two are connected somehow, the box and the great beast and the obsidian thing.
Mhm.
Potentially.
What
Could be
if
totally irrelevant, but I just figured, what if the box housed something like that?
what if the box is somehow connected to Hunter and her curse? Also, I feel like
Mm.
Hunter, she's a hunter. Like she has to be connected to the beast somehow, right? What is she doing? Is her curse that she can't leave London below until she kills the beast? Because there's
She seemed
something,
afraid.
yeah, there's something going on with her too. I wouldn't be surprised if it's connected to the silver box somehow.
She has a spear too, right?
Mm-hmm. I think
Is
so.
her weapon's a spear, and then in Richard's dream he's holding a spear
Oh shit.
against the beast. I don't know if
Oh
that's a
shit.
connection, but when I saw her like having a spear, I was like, oh, it's like Richard's dream, you know? I don't know.
Yeah, that's interesting. Hmm.
I wonder if it's the object that maybe the hunter needs, like for some reason, and it's what would protect her on the surface, but Carabas already knows that's something that's important, so he left it intentionally with Old Bailey.
Oh
Mm.
yeah, because he's on the roof and would never go
Hmm.
underground. Ooh, that's pretty interesting. I feel like we're getting far enough
Yeah.
along in the story now that we're starting to be able to like have some pretty cool theories.
That's
He's
what I was
pretty
like.
conniving.
My third question is basically answer to the first two of how you think these two things will impact the story in the future.
Hmm.
Because
They just
he
get,
has to have specifically chosen that for a reason.
yeah, like maybe it's either a way to trap her or something she needs to free her.
Because he can take anything out of his pockets, right? But he took that out to give to Old Bailey. You know,
We
Did he
stole
give that
it.
to Old Bailey?
Oh, the silver box.
Did
You
he
mean?
give it to? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Did he give it to Old Bailey before or after they chose Hunter as the bodyguard?
Oh, before. Before.
When
before.
Richard first met him.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like before Richard even, stopped being
Came back.
seen by people. Yeah, he was like going to
That's right. That's right. That's
he
right.
went to De Carabas to make a deal, and then on their way to his apartment, the path was like down a sewer grate thing that somehow opened up to a skyscraper, and then from the skyscraper they took the center stairwell down, and that somehow was the broom closet at Richard's apartment. So they stopped by Bailey's like right just before they got to door.
Mm.
I am kind of feeling like De Carabas is gonna be maybe the antagonist of the story. I'm feeling more and more just about like how much stuff he's like how much unexplained stuff he's doing on the DL.
Mhm.
Or maybe what he's doing is for good.
Yeah, hard to put a
Hard to
finger
tell with
on.
a guy like
Hmm.
Um Also with Yeah, with what Mr. Krupp and Mr. Vandemar said, like taunting her, that there was like a cuckoo in her nest,
Yeah, because they
basically.
knew where to find her when
Yeah.
she got out, and so there's a rat inside their circle. Not the Rat King, but there's somebody in there.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think in this part too, it was mentioned that I'm pretty sure it mentioned that the plan for Dor never was to kill her. I think she was just supposed to be like kidnapped.
Seems like it's flip flopped a little bit.
Yeah, maybe. But they did say they were like griping about like what their boss is telling them to do is like, kid like do this, do that, kidnap her, blah blah blah. And
Don't the two want to like kill her? Or no, I can't remember.
well, you'd think they were trying to kill her at the beginning because of, how they were going after her, but
Mhm.
she didn't
Oh.
die. I mean, what if she's just being, I don't know, like tested or I don't know. Yeah, I just think it's weird now though that they're only supposed to taunt her right now, and they're not supposed to, even though they were right there.
Yeah. I feel like her power, specifically being able to open doorways to certain places,
Mhm.
could probably be the downfall of some evil guy's plot.
Mm.
And so
Yeah.
her
Or
power is very
something.
specific.
Because Mr.
Maybe they want to
Krupp-
use her for it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
True.
Because
that
Maybe they
too.
want to use her.
which one has like super speed, Mr. Krupp or Mr. Vander? One of those
Krupp.
two. Yeah. If he's got super speed, he could have taken Dor at any, I would feel like he could have taken her at any time if
Mhm.
that was the case.
Or Richard,
Yeah.
especially Richard.
Oh yeah, especially because
He's a
got no-
squishy.
Yeah.
Yeah, squishy.
That old boy playing checkers.
Was it ever explained why Hunter wants to help Dor?
Some reward, I guess. Like that's the promise of a reward or favor. Because
Who
I
do
don't.
you guys think the mole is?
I guess like, why come back now?
Yeah.
She'd been missing for quite a long
True.
time.
Oh shit. True. I mean,
She's feeling like a Chekhov's gun / Deus Ex Machina type of character right now.
yeah. Also,
Mm.
like Hunter being the bodyguard works out perfectly fine for Krupp and Vandemar. Like they already had an opportunity to kill her or capture her or whatever because Hunter can't go above ground. So like even though
Yeah.
Varney didn't win, it's like still who did win seems pretty beneficial for them.
All right. I think Hunter is either going to be the beast or she is going to be the one who killed Dor's family.
Dang.
Oh.
Oh shit, because she's been hunting. Oh shit.
No, but they had flashbacks of Krupp and Vandemar doing that.
Oh, okay, true.
Oh, never
That's
mind.
true.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
true.
When they were in the house, when her and Carabas were in the house, there was
Yeah.
flashbacks.
Yeah, it's like who got
I mean,
them
Maybe
in the
she's-
house is the
Maybe she
question.
helped them. I mean,
Maybe
we
Yeah.
she's
don't
the
know that.
boss, the governor.
Pulling the but
Yeah.
what does she have to gain? Nobody's
She wants
acting as
Dor's
sketchy
power.
as De Carabas right now.
Mhm.
Especially with
Maybe
this
they
last
want
chapter.
something, like an object that Dor can get to. Mm.
Mm. Any other final thoughts on chapter 8?
I had a question. How's everyone at this point feeling about Richard's just not willing to like believe certain things,
Pretty
considering the
dumb at
setting
this
he's
point.
in?
Yeah.
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 Get it together, buddy.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
he's talked to talking rats and people who can speak to them and birdmen and seen magic. I mean, come on. What are you
Yeah.
questioning at this point?
He's like, well,
Like it got me when he
he's like, well, Actually, there's no British Museum station. He says
Yeah.
these things with such confidence. Like,
I had an umbrella with the subway system on it, and that wasn't on there.
yeah.
Yeah, it was at that point where I was kind of just like, dude,
Yeah, what's it
what
gonna
have
take?
you been doing?
Exactly. Either turn up with a power or something, Richard. I don't know what you are in this story right now. Like, he's not particularly. I mean, the only thing that's unique about him is his like ability to maybe be kind of like Door, maybe capable of existing in both to some degree, underground and above ground. But even that, it's not like they've really explored it.
I think he's gonna be some great protector, and maybe his ignorance is gonna be what saves him, or saves everybody. Maybe.
Maybe he'll have like a Fry Futurama moment, and it's actually his
Yeah.
fucked up brainwaves save the universe or something. We're rooting for you,
Because
Richard.
they do bring it up, the fact that he remembered Door when she was explaining, that nobody notices us, nobody sees us.
Mm-hmm.
She brought up that he was like, well, then how did I see you?
Yeah,
And she's
true.
like, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
He's important. He's got like above average size balls or something. He's gonna be important.
Wow. All right. Let's go to the last chapter, chapter 9. This is page 191 through 206. Well, look who it is, Jessica. She and her assistant Clarence are preparing to let viewers into the Angels collection she has organized at the British Museum. Her boss, Mr. Stockton, is running late, which is making everyone else have to wait as he'd requested an initial private viewing. Jessica is very on edge when Clarence makes the executive decision to let those waiting in before they start rioting. Meanwhile, Richard and Dor are wandering around the museum trying to find angel stuff. They eventually make their way into the angel collection area, and Richard notices Jessica. He tries to avoid her, but she notices him too. They end up talking, and at first, Jessica thinks he is with media, but then Richard says a bunch of detailed information about Jessica, including her propensity to hum I'm a Believer during sexy times and the fact they've been engaged 18 months. Jessica finds a reason to leave and has Clarence, who has to be forced to notice Richard to get security. Mr. Stockton arrives and begins his speech as security are grabbing onto Richard. At the end of Mr. Stockton's speech, he pulls a cord that reveals a double-wide door elegantly decorated with an angel on them. Door screams into the mic to create a distraction and pulls Richard with her through the door that is spewing light brilliantly. They see the angel Islington and follow her. The chapter ends with De Carabas going to Mr. Krupp and Mr. Vandemar. For some reason, they're having some kind of secret meeting. And De Carabas says, "Hello, boys. I thought it high time I came down here to talk to you in person."
Bitch made.
Is he the governor?
After that, I think he's the boss. I think he's again with the 40 chess.
You think he's the one who's them talking to them on the phone?
I kind of think so. I don't know what the fuck's
It
going
could
on.
be. He also has his hand in many honeypots and many cookie
Yeah.
jars.
That's true.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so
Mm,
Amarillo had some questions, but she's gone tonight because it's her birthday. Yay! Happy birthday!
Happy birthday.
Woo.
Happy birthday.
If she's watching this, happy birthday.
Woo. So her first question: was anyone expecting to see Jessica return to the story?
Yeah.
It kind of was.
Yeah, it's gonna
Yeah,
happen
yeah, at some
eventually.
point.
Yeah.
When they started talking about angels,
Mm.
I remembered that Jessica was setting up for like an angels collection
I
or
didn't
whatever
remember
that
that.
was. And so yeah, I was like, oh, I wonder if Jessica's gonna make an appearance, and then she did, and I was like, oh, actually, that's
Yeah.
pretty good
Yeah.
writing there.
There was a
But
I
little
then
breadcrumbs
realized
throughout the whole book.
I realized that when they started talking about Jessica, I'm like, oh yeah, the Stockton guy had that shit. He had the
Mhm.
collection.
Yep.
Hmm. And her second question was, why do you think let's see. Okay, why do you think Jessica and Richard were able to see Dor in their first meeting?
Hmm.
that's a good
Well,
question.
did Jessica see her before he pointed her out?
Yeah, maybe
I thought she
not.
stepped
Maybe
over
it's
her.
more of a Richard, maybe affiliation with Richard. Richard was the one who like full blown noticed her, like,
I,
open a
I,
door into the sidewalk.
I think he stopped and she kept walking and he was like, wait, what are you
Yeah.
doing? And
Mhm.
then, she's like, what are you, we're going to be late. And he's like, you're just going to leave this person? And she's like, oh, yeah, let's go.
That at least gives some context to how cold she was, because the nature of them living in the
Oh,
the
true.
underworld is that they don't get noticed. So maybe she just didn't notice her. Actually didn't,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
couldn't have.
Mm-hmm.
I think they have some type of shared connection.
Hmm.
And then also in the beginning when the old lady, like he gave the old lady his umbrella,
Mm-hmm.
she said, like, remember how she took his hand and she's like, oh, there's like beware of the doors or something.
Mm-hmm.
Stay away
Said
from
something along those
doors.
lines. Yeah, like you got a long way to go, and
Mm-hmm.
something about doors. So
Yeah.
definitely have some type of shared destiny or something like that.
Hmm.
And poor people are part of the rat speakers, right? So she was probably part of that community. He helped her out, so maybe that bestowed some type of like connection onto him.
Perhaps. It's hard to say.
Hmm. Yeah, I feel like it was mostly just something going on with Richard. Richard has some power or some ability or something that we just don't know about yet.
But
Um,
also I feel like Richard is like he's empathetic and he has compassion towards others too. Like
mhm.
he's really genuinely he's a genuine person, so I also think that may have been a part of why he was able to see Dor is cuz he's empathetic and he's just genuine.
What if the fortune teller from the very beginning of the book, what if Richard's interaction with her means something? Like she gave him some power or some ability to see or something. What if that turns out to mean something? Also, just from that night, he had that weird magical interaction, right? When he was shit-faced drunk. Remember that? He saw like some floating glowing symbols or something in one of his drunken memories.
Wasn't it something running on the street covered in ruins or something?
Beetle or
A
Yes, yes,
beetle? Something beetle
yeah,
shaped?
something like that. So what if everything started there in some way. Hmm. So, do you guys think that De Carabas is Mr. Krupp and Mr. Vandemar's boss?
I, I
I,
don't think he's their boss, but I think he's gonna like set up some plan with them,
Hmm.
or
yeah,
try to like meddle
Make a
in
deal.
what's happening.
get into his own self-interesty things. I don't think he's their boss either because they knew the first time she ran away that she was trying to go find Dick Carabas. Like why wouldn't they be like, she's going straight to her boss. Perfect,
But what if
Yeah.
he's like supremely long conning here? What if De Carabas is like, okay, kill the family, so that Dora is scared and desperate, and she'll just have to reach out to me because he's known for whatever in the community. And she does. And so
Could be.
now that like she's, feels indebted towards him or something, he's going to get whatever grand favor to do something, maybe related to this the beast, the pig, the boar or whatever. Um I don't know, just the way that
Yeah.
the book has shown multiple examples of like De Carabas being able to predict things happening when other people aren't anticipating. Like, for example, the saxophone guy, like giving him, that musical thing and then coming back and like helping him to turn off the musical thing. So he kind of got like a 2-for-1 special with that situation. And I don't know, he feels super conniving, and I kind of feel like maybe he might be the boss just because the way it says,
Oh.
like, "Hello, boys. I thought it time I came down here to talk to you in person." What does that mean? Time I talk to you in person. That makes it sound like we've been talking
Specifically in person.
before, not
But
in
on the phone.
person, and now we're
Also,
talking in person.
what if he's anonymously their boss? What if they don't even know who their boss is for this
They said the
job?
governor specifically.
Yeah, whatever that means.
But that could be like a stage name, that he.
Could be fake, yeah. But they did say the governor. Not capitalized. So maybe they were using it as an adjective. So who knows? But it's definitely shady, and it could go either way, to be honest,
Mm-hmm.
with him.
Yeah. And I almost wondered too if by making De Carabas so suspicious, the author is like encouraging our brain to be distracted, and maybe we're not picking up on certain things happening related to other characters, like whether Hunter or anybody else.
Yeah.
Because we're too busy. At least I feel like I'm very busy being suspicious of De Carabas.
Yeah.
He could be
He
a
is
red
a
herring.
dubious person,
Yeah.
to say the least.
It was Bailey all along.
Oh shit. Or Varney. Does anybody have any final thoughts on chapter 9 or just the reading as a whole? And then I can show the rest of the pictures.
No.
I think.
I will say, oh, go ahead. No,
You
no.
go. You go.
I was just gonna say I listened to the last chapter on the audiobook on Spotify. It's
Mhm.
actually narrated by the the author
Mhm.
of the book.
Mm.
That was pretty good. Actually, I like
Nice.
the way he spoke. That was all
I
I
was
was
gonna,
gonna say.
I was gonna say I just I enjoy the imagery a lot, especially around Krupp and Vandemar, and really depicting them to be like these foul creatures. They're just eating the heads off of pigeons after baiting them with sand. Like it just does a really good job of illustrating, the scenery in the book. Like I could really picture a lot of stuff in my head, and I enjoy that part so far.
Yeah. Yeah, the part where he like picked up whatever shrimp thing and instead of eating it himself, he just sprinkled it on the ground and just grabbed a pigeon and just fucking is squirming around. He just bites his head off, starts chewing, and Mr. Kroop's like, "Well caught, Mr. Vandemar." Like, Lordy be.
Yep.
In my head,
Yeah.
Kroop has the voice of Wimplo from Kung Pao, but like a little bit older sounding. Well played. We're utterly professional.
I like the part where Vandemar was eating the slug and the descriptions
Ah,
and
yeah.
imagery used
Yeah.
as like a slimy cigar
Ah,
that was like
Mhm.
trying to get out of his mouth.
That shit was gross.
yeah.
He seems like the big stupid one. He's like the Lenny of the two.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, Mr. Kroop does most of the talking.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's see with these pictures for this last part. Okay, this one is like that scene where Richard and Dor are getting away from Mr. Krupp and Mr. Vandemar, and like they describe Mr. Vandemar as just like laughing and howling, almost like wolf-like to the moon. And so they have that picture. Let's see here of him kind of like, yelling or laughing or whatever the hell he's doing into the air. Here's another picture of Dor. And then there was a really good picture of Jessica. She looks quite lovely, I would say. Quite lovely indeed. Most fanciful.
Oh, that was another thing. Is like, why did this dude just spill his whole backstory? Like, he could have just
Maybe
keep
he
his
thought,
mouth shut a little bit.
yeah, maybe
Yeah,
he thought he could just say whatever and it wouldn't matter. Like she wouldn't remember,
or
Yeah.
in hopes that maybe she might have been able to get her memory back, or like, I don't know, like dude should have just kept his mouth shut.
Yeah.
He's really got no self control. Like
Exactly.
he's kind of making himself a liability at this point as well. He's not
Yeah,
even
'cause
just playing checkers.
The guards wouldn't even have done anything if he hadn't said anything, because he made himself known. Making yourself
Right, and
known is
then
what. Yeah.
and then Dora has to make
angel on the
herself
door.
known, and just he's making himself a liability.
He's so dumb.
Here's
When Jessica
Mr.
came up to
Stockton.
him and asked Richard, "Do I know you?" I would have just left it at like, I came to your office once, but that was it.
Ah,
He looks like Trump. I'll say it.
yeah. Stockton.
I have the best angels. Nobody has angels like
Oh
me.
God. Here's another one of De Carabas when he goes to see Mr. Krupp and Mr. Vandemar.
Ugh, suspicious. It's a little sus.
Mm-hmm. Oh yes.
And he knew exactly where to go, which was also suspicious.
Yeah, true.
Seems like a lot of people know exactly where to go all the time.
They'd be
Well-
magical. But they're also, we're seeing a lot of the powerful magical people.
Yeah.
There's also people like Anesthesia, who were like low level magical people in this world. Like there's some kind of class system.
Yeah.
Appears to be.
He raised his faction rep with the rat speakers when he mentioned Anastasia and had feeling bad for her.
True.
Missing her.
Yeah, that's when Miss Whiskers was like, she might come back. We'll see. So that could be pretty
Because
interesting.
if
she comes back.
It thanked him, right? It thanked him for mentioning her or mentioning it.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah.
The rat, Miss Whiskers.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if Richard at some point is gonna understand the animals. Like if it's suddenly gonna
That'd
hit
be
when
great.
he's been down there long enough.
Squeak, squeakin', McSqueak.
Oh yes. Oh
At
yes.
this point, he'll probably, you can talk.
Oh God, yeah. I can't understand rat. There's no way I'm understanding you right now. All right, well, let's see, for next week, that is pages 207 to 298 for the illustrated version, or through chapter 14. So we'll read chapter 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Yes.
Let's hope for more Richard character development.
Yeah, you can stop playing checkers in this chess match. Jeez. All right, GB, good book, good book. Yep.
Do we think we'll watch whatever miniseries for the show after or
I'm
no?
not opposed. Is it out right now or coming
I,
out?
I would.
No, it's from 1996. It's gonna
Oh,
be
Yeah.
that'd
gonna
be
be
pretty
old
cool.
and
High quality effects. That could be pretty
yeah,
interesting to watch.
super high quality.
Yeah, no, we should. That's good.
It's only like 6 30-minute episodes or something. I was just looking at it on IMDb.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that would be pretty cool to do. I think we should do that.
I know we talked about doing that if they're making a show or a movie for
The
the
Institute.
Institute, right? We
Mhm,
talked about
mhm.
doing that eventually, but
Mhm. Yeah, we should do it. And then we'll be like those people that are like, the movie doesn't do it justice. But maybe if it's going to be a show, it'll do it more justice because, you know, they have more time and stuff. But yes.
also, what's our next book called? I
The
was looking for it.
Project Hail
Hail Mary.
Mary. Uh-huh.
You gotta add that to my list.
Yes.
Yeah, I just want to add it to my.
After next book club, I'll send a reminder and a link to everybody so that we'll have 2 weeks at least for shipping sometimes because the shipping is better. You could go ahead and order it now if you want. I mean, that's for sure the book we're reading next. But yes.